All right, so our article is a conversation between two coworkers or two people who work together today. So we're going to start out with Charlene saying, "Hey Franco, where are you going for lunch?"
That's right, okay. So, it's going to be lunchtime. People are starting to go out of the office. Some people might go to a restaurant.
Right.
Some people might bring their lunch from home. We call that brown bagging it because of the brown paper bags that it comes in North America.
Right.
Now we have our next character, Franco. He says, "I'm going over to the park to eat my sandwich."
All right.
So he's going to go outside, maybe get some sun if the weather is nice, and enjoy his lunch outdoors.
Now that sounds like a better way to do things. So Charlene answers him and says, "That sounds lovely. Would you mind if I joined you?" Very polite way of asking, "Can I go with you?"
That's right. Okay, so she wants to go out, maybe get some sun to enjoy the day a little bit because when you're in the office, you're kind of trapped indoors.
Maybe the lights are very bright and
Yeah.
it's just not, maybe it's very dark in there. The AC's on and maybe you're cold, or maybe it's off and you're really hot and
You just want to get out,
Yeah.
just escape for a little bit. Franco says, "I'd love the company as long as you don't mind walking around." Okay, so he not only wants to go have lunch, he wants to get a little bit of exercise as well. And he says he would love the company. Now this is a noun, it's spelled C-O-M-P-A-N-Y, company. Now this is different from the usual definition we see for company, which is a business that makes or sells things. Here he's saying, "I would love the company." This is a situation where you have other people with you or around you. So when he says, "I would love the company," it just means I would love to have somebody else with me.
Right, okay, now that makes sense.
We could also say, "I really enjoy Beth's company. She's a wonderful person to be around." So you can remember this the next time if somebody's asking if they can go with you to do something, you can say, "Sure, I would love the company." It's not saying I love a business or I love a company that makes or sells things. It's saying, yeah, I'd love to have somebody with me.
Great. Now Charlene says exactly that. She says, "Great. In fact, I could use some exercise." So Charlene thinks that going to the park and walking around is a great idea. So she uses the phrase, "could use something." Now we use this phrase to say that someone or something needs something else very much. For example, we might say, "This plant is dying. It could use some sunshine and some more water." Or, "Phew, you stink. You could use a bath."
I could use a bath, yes. I definitely could use a bath. So remember that phrase. If you need something or require something, you can say, "I could use something," or "someone could use something."
Right.
Now, Charlene continues. She says, "My knees are sore from sitting down all morning." Yes, we covered this in the intro to the lesson today. Sitting down is not really good for you. You're not active when you're sitting down, so you can get these health problems, these aches and pains. She says her knees are sore from. This is a phrase we often see. Be sore from doing something. This is used to say that something has caused our bodies to feel pain in some way.
Okay.
For example, we could say, "My legs are sore from riding my bicycle all day." Yes, I once did a bicycle tour around all of Taiwan.
Wow.
And every day my legs were so sore from pedaling all day long.
I could imagine.
Yeah, it also didn't help that I didn't train at all.
Well, that doesn't help.
No, it didn't help.
Yeah.
So I was sore from lack of training, too.
I actually went canoeing and kayaking a couple of weeks ago.
Okay, yeah.
And my arms were sore from doing this all day.
It's a very intense workout.
It is, and especially if you don't do something like that very often, it can be quite tough at the end of it.
I imagine. I'd be very sore from doing that, too.
Now, Franco's going to continue on. He says, "Mine too." Here he's responding to Charlene, saying, "My knees are sore too." So his knees are also sore. Plus, I hate staring at the monitor all day. Now we have a couple of words to look at in this sentence. The first one is stare. It's a verb and it's spelled S-T-A-R-E, stare. When you stare at something, you look at something for a long time without moving your eyes. Now in the article, Franco is staring at the monitor because he's doing work. But when we stare at something, it can often be because we're surprised, angry, or bored. Another way we could say stare in a sentence is, Harry couldn't stop staring at his friends in shock when they surprised him for his birthday. Maybe they jumped out
and yelled, surprise!
And he just went, oh!
And he stared at them. We also saw the word monitor there. That's what he's staring at all day long. That's what anybody who works in an office will probably do, staring at a computer monitor. That's a noun, of course, and it is spelled M-O-N-I-T-O-R, monitor. And that's the part of a computer with a screen, which you use to see pictures or information.
Right. It could also be for a TV.
That's right, a TV monitor, if you're working in a television studio or something like that. We could say the director watched the actors from a monitor at the side of the film set. So that's that usage of monitor, the TV monitor that you will look at to watch footage or something that has been filmed.
Okay, so Franco continues on. He says, it's much more pleasant being surrounded by plants than it is eating lunch at my desk.
Absolutely.
That does sound nicer. It's nicer to be around green things than maybe a gray desk or something like that. Now, we saw the word pleasant, which is an adjective, and it's spelled P-L-E-A-S-A-N-T, pleasant. Pleasant describes something that is enjoyable or something that makes you feel happy. For example, I had a pleasant afternoon visiting with my friends. We spent the day in an art gallery. So if you like spending your time in art galleries looking at art, that would be a pleasant thing for you to do. It would make you feel happy.
And it would definitely be more pleasant to, be outdoors, or at least to get outdoors for a little while during the workday.
Right.
And to be surrounded by plants, trees, flowers, things like that. To be surrounded by them. This is a verb. We spell it S-U-R-R-O-U-N-D. Surround. That means to be all around something or someone on all sides. So something is all around you. For example, it's difficult to see the hotel room from the road because it's surrounded by trees.
Okay. Well, Charlene says, do your eyes dry out after you use the computer for a while? So here she's bringing up another problem. She's got sore knees and she's talking about her eyes now. She uses the phrase, dry something out. Now, dry something out, if something dries out or it is dried out by someone, some or all of the water comes out of it. For example, we need to dry out the towels and swimsuits before we pack them in the bags. Maybe you went swimming, everything's wet, and if you put it in the bag, it's going to get all smelly and it's not going to be very nice. So you want to get the water out of them. You want to dry them out.
Otherwise, it will not be pleasant. As you said, it'll be smelly.
Stinky.
All right. Charlene, I should say, continues. She says, I drink lots of water, but I just can't keep my eyes hydrated. Hydrate. This is a verb. Again, it's spelled H-Y-D-R-A-T-E. Hydrate. It means to provide water to keep something healthy and in good condition. Now, the opposite of this is dehydrated, which means to remove too much water from something. So in the article, Charlene can't keep her eyes hydrated, which means she doesn't have enough water in her eyes, so they feel very dry.
Right. Now that can happen quite often, especially if you're just looking at the computer all day. Now, another example is you should stay hydrated when you exercise by drinking lots of water.
That's right. It's very important to stay hydrated when you are exercising. Next, Franco says, yes, they do. It feels awful too. So he's talking about his eyes as well. So he also has this problem. Having dry eyes, if you've ever had this feeling, it is not a nice feeling. It's very uncomfortable. Your eyes almost feel itchy, but of course you can't scratch your eyes.
No.
That would be really bad for them.
It's painful. Yeah. So Charlene says, I can't stand leaving work every day, feeling as if my body is falling apart. Now, she says something really strange here. She says, as if my body is falling apart. Let's look at the phrase as if first. It's used to say that something seems to be true. We can also use as though in the same way. We could say, as though my body is falling apart. If we use as if in an example, we could say, Fred looks as if he's seen a ghost. Why is he so pale? Now let's find out why she feels as if her body is falling apart.
That's right. Fall apart is a phrasal verb. It means to break because of being old or badly made. It's important to note here that Charlene's body is not actually breaking, like she's not actually breaking down, falling apart, but it seems like it is. So remember that phrase, as if, to seem as if or as though something is true.
Right. Now, another way Charlene could say this is, it seems like my body is falling apart. Now, we know that she's not actually falling apart, but she feels like she is because her body isn't working properly. Remember those sore knees and dry eyes. Another example we could use is, I've read this book so many times that it's starting to fall apart. The pages are falling out. Now, in this example, the book is actually falling apart.
That's right. But Charlene is not actually falling apart. It just kind of feels that way. She goes on to say there must be something we can do to not feel so terrible all the time. She wants to find a solution.
Right. All right. And so Franco answers her and he says, you've got a point. Let's do some research when we get back to the office. Really quick, let's look at that phrase, you've got a point. We use this to say that we think someone has said something very important.
That's right.
And we also saw the noun research in that sentence, which is spelled R-E-S-E-A-R-C-H. Research. So research is the careful study that is done to find and report new knowledge about something. For example, we could say, Barry is working with a team of scientists to do cancer research.
All right, so they're going to do some research, try to find some solutions to these office health problems that they are experiencing. We're almost out of time on the show today. Before we leave you, though, let's go to our For You chat.
Great.